Hello, everybody. My name's Rick McCutcheon. I'm a Dynamics 365 MVP, and I'm here today with Gail Mercer-MacKay. Gail, introduce
Hey,
yourself and tell people what you do.
hey, Rick. Yes, I'll introduce myself. I'm Gail Mercer-MacKay, and I've been in the Microsoft ecosystem for my entire career. And our company is called Mercer-MacKay Digital Storytelling, and we are a marketing agency that provides help for Microsoft partners and in the Microsoft ecosystem to market out to their customers and to market to Microsoft and to market to whoever they want to market to.
And Gail, like you're well known, you've been in this space for a long time. And what really comes to mind when I talk about Gail Mercer-MacKay is awards. Like your organization has written probably thousands of award submissions for Microsoft partners for Microsoft Awards. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, it's kind of almost the way the company got started. One of our first gigs was, as I was just an independent writer at the time, was writing awards for Microsoft partners who just are too busy, don't have the time, don't have the talent to do it. And so we started doing it, and it grew and grew and grew. And yes, we do hundreds of award submissions. And we have as I was telling you before we started, we have a pretty good track record and a methodology for writing the awards. So last year, for example, 40% of the partners we wrote for either won or made it to the podium as a finalist. So we were very proud of last year's track record. Usually it's normally between 20 and 30%, but it's a competitive field. There's over 3,000 submissions for 45 awards. So it's tough to win, and partners have to be on their toes if they want to make it to the podium.
So Gail, today we're going to talk about a new product for you. I think what's called daXai, like taxi with a D. Talk about daXai.
Oh my gosh, I'm so passionate about daXai. I'm so excited about it. It's built on Dynamics on Microsoft Azure, and it is a fulfillment of my dream to provide all the marketing knowledge and processes and templates and training that we have out to partners, to really democratize it for partners, because a lot of partners cannot afford to hire a marketing agency to do the work for them, but they need a little bit more of an accelerated start. They need some help. They need to pick up the phone and call somebody if they run into trouble or get on a live call, a live training session. So that's what daXai is. It's everything that we know and do, and we add to it every month. So we add content to it every month, and yeah, we're really excited. It's just launched. It's been around for a little over a year with the free portion, the Microsoft Awards portion, which is free, always free for partners to go on and plan their Microsoft Awards. But the rest of it, which is the subscription model, is now available. So we hope some people listening might want to check it out.
And I think, when you showed me this the other day, I'm looking at daXai and saying, you know what, this is really important for partners because, historically as partners, it was almost we were in the referral business, right? Somebody gave us a referral, we went in and did a project. But now it's changed. People consume software differently. They consume cloud software, and they may go out and test and have a trial and do some different things, and then decide they need a partner to help them. And so they've already started their project. Now they have to go out and start to look for a partner. And I think, content's king. Having good content and even being able to write good content and describe what you do is very, very important to partners. And both as a partner, whether I'm selling direct or if I'm an ISV trying to sell through partners or get Microsoft interested in me, like I've got a very narrow window to go in and get people interested. And if I don't say the right things, they're off to the next ISV.
Yeah. It's so true. I mean, there's more and more technology partners. There's more competition for business out there, and customers are very, very savvy, and they're using, their online tools to search, to find partners. In fact, Forrester came out with an interesting stat. Before COVID, it took 17 digital touch points before a customer might be ready to talk to you. Post-COVID, 27 digital touch points before they're ready to talk to you. And Forrester says this year it's growing even more. So it's more and more important to have really good content to connect digitally with people so that they can begin to think, this partner is a partner that I understand, that has values like mine, it seems to have some really good expertise. I want to scratch the surface a little more and get to know them better, and maybe talk to them when I'm ready to go into my short list of who I'm going to do business with.
And what's interesting, you've always come from the marketing side of things, and I've come from the sales side of things to help partners. And, we even look back to some studies around 2012 that said the average customer was somewhere around 58-60% of the way through the buying process before they reached out to a partner or vendor. Now it's probably closer to 80 or 90% through their buying journey. So if the partner doesn't have good content, if the ISV doesn't have good content, they're just not going to be in the game.
Yeah. And it's interesting you say that you came from sales and I came from marketing. The reality is I came from sales too, because before I started my marketing agency, I have carried a bag for 25 years, and always for startups in the Microsoft ecosystem. So I tell people I sold version 1 of Office, version 1 of SQL Server, version 1 of SharePoint. I sold stuff that nobody had ever heard of before, from a company that nobody had ever heard of before. And that's really all that knowledge is. A lot of that's packed into what we do on the marketing side. How do you make yourself attractive if they don't really know who you are, never heard of you before, and maybe you're selling something that's really new, really transformative. So
And to add to that, when I'm talking to customers now or partners, I say there's really no sales and marketing anymore. It's blurred. I call it business development, because it's a combination, because that customer may bounce back and forth within your sales department, within your marketing department, go away for a while, come back in, go away, and come back in again. And you just can't say, I've got marketing handling this, or I've got sales. It's got to be a combination of both.
Yeah, but I 100% agree. And you want to be able to take that transaction all the way through, and even potentially transact on marketplace. We may never talk to that customer, but for most organizations, sales is going to come in, because again, people buy from people that they know, like, and trust. And there is that, that handoff, or that really, it's very seamless nowadays though, that handoff when sales steps in and takes over. And marketing's been doing a really, really good job up to this point, so that sales can step in and continue that dialogue that's begun, and begin to build a trusted foundation.
So Gail, we're making it sound like it's really tough to sell in the Microsoft market, but I think we've both seen over the last 3 or 4 years just tremendous growth, both, for Microsoft selling licenses and for partner business.
Yeah, it's been, the world has had to transform. The events of the last couple of years have changed how businesses are doing business, and they need technology. And so for a lot of partners, it's been a easy upsell. For many partners, it's been easy. But again, everything will level off at certain points. And so you want to keep that funnel going. And I think you mentioned at the beginning, a lot of partners were used to just getting the referrals. Every month they would get a referral, or they would get brought into a deal. That's not happening so much anymore. They've got to do that themselves, And I remember, one of my stories when I started my company, and I searched for my name online, and not much came up. And what did come up really didn't reflect how I wanted to be seen. And I realized I had to take a very deliberate stance on how I posted, what I wrote, how I crafted my online image, and how frequently I was talking. And about 2 years later, I got a call to meet somebody that they wanted to interview an agency to do some work for them. And I went to the meeting, and I walked in the meeting room, and this woman I had never met jumped up and ran towards me and gave me a big hug. And she said, "I can't believe I'm meeting you." She said, "I've read all your blogs. I follow you on LinkedIn." She said, "I know you can help us. I've got a $10,000 purchase order. Can we get started today?" And I went, oh my gosh, that was either the shortest sales cycle of my life, or what really happened was my digital self was selling and building a trusted relationship with this person until we got to that point. And that's what marketing is trying to do today, build that trusted relationship. So when sales comes in, they're at the very final piece, answering the final questions and getting that, whatever that PO is.
Okay, great. Gail, thanks for your time today. We'll be coming back to you later this year to find out what's going on with Gail Mercer-MacKay and daXai.